I want to talk to you about your past for a moment. Specifically, if you have a negative past, you have a story or series of stories that impact your life. I listened to a podcast yesterday that just really spoke to me about my past stories, my negative stories. And in the podcast, this lady shared just a glimpse of her past. And the man that was interviewing her just said, "Why do you do that? Why are you sharing that story?" And on the surface, she said, just to let others know that I've been through something, that you can get through it. But as they dug into it, where it went was she realized she was using her story as a place of empathy, like wanting to reverse the table to where people would somehow see her differently. And so I started digging into that myself. I wrote some notes, took some journaling notes last night, like why in recent past do I share a specific part of my story from the past? Like, why do I do that? And again, for me on the surface, it's to connect, it's to let people know, like, you can get through this too. But because of this podcast I listened to, I dug a little deeper and I thought, anytime I share that story, do I feel positive? Do I feel better for letting you know I did this or went through this, and that if you've done it, you can get through it too? And my conclusion was no, I don't feel good about it at all. Like, I don't come away thinking, man, I'm glad I told so and so about that. I hope they now know. And so I made a decision last night, to quit living in the shadow of my past, to quit bringing it to the future, and quit throwing it on the marquee as, here's what Bob did, here's what Bob has gone through, here's who I am. Just want you to know. And I want you to examine the same exact framework. If you have a past that you live in the shadow of, it's a blemish on your record, it mars who you were somewhere in the past, and you still bring it up, you still shoot the flare, you still raise the flag, like, hey, I've done this is what I did, I've been through this. You may share it and legitimately feel good about sharing it. You may be able to be in a place to where it's a connecting story, it's empathetic, it's letting people know. But you also may be not feeling so good about yourself when you throw that flag back up. And I want you to really take a moment like I did. I was riding down the road and just really, I stopped the podcast and just listened to what was in my heart. And last night I got out and worked on it a while. Like, and the question I wrote down is, why do I share my story? And the second question was, how do I feel about it after I do? And I want you to do the same thing. Why do you share your story? Why do you bring up that story or those stories? Why? And then do the B part. How do you feel after you share your story or stories? And if you walk away from that moment feeling less than great about yourself, feeling like you've just reminded yourself you're a total F up, or man, you really blew that, what a jackwad. Like, if you do that, then make make a promise to yourself. Enough is enough. Like, you're not going back there. It's time to quit living. It's time to quit rehearsing. It's time to quit ruminating on that and look forward and just determine, I'm never bringing that up ever again. You may, generic it, generalize it, and just say, hey, I've been through some stuff, I relate. But you don't have to go in the weeds to where it's like, yeah, I suck. And I wanted you to know that I really suck bad somewhere in the past. So, um, anyway, like, It's time to live for the future, and it's time to quit letting our past beat the hell out of us to where we don't have ideal and great moments when that happens. Stay strong. God bless.